Good morning and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have two sour mash whiskeys, both at 80 proof. And I'll show you what we have. This cream colored label. This is a pretty label. It's 10 High Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey, a blend. There's Hiram Walker. 1879. No, the brand 10 High has not been around since 1879. It's been around since 1934. It was a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Then it became a Kentucky whiskey, bourbon whiskey, a blend. Now it's being sold as bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. I don't know why they keep changing it. Probably they're just dropping it lower on the price point positioning. Because I bought the handle of the current 10 High for $14.99. Okay, but anyway, this is the previous edition. I don't think this is produced anymore. Notice I said I don't think it's produced anymore. So I did not put a, let me put on there possibly out of production. Let me change that. This variant is really I should put probably possibly out of production. But since Sazerac doesn't have a website listing for this, how do you know? Well, you could know because you could call Sazerac and ask them. I doubt I'm going to do that because I'm not that concerned about it. Okay, so here is a liter bottle. I got the light off. I'm going to turn the light on in a minute, but it makes too much glare and you can't see the product. Here is George Dickel Tennessee Sour Mash Whiskey, Cascade Hollow, aged 3 years, bottled in Tennessee. Well, it's produced, aged, and bottled in Tennessee. Introduced apparently in 2018. I know this one's out of production because if you look at the website, it says frequently asked questions, and it says Cascade Hollow is currently, they wrote the sentence incorrectly, like it says, yeah, I know what it says, is currently out of production at this time. Well, if it's currently out of production, that is at this time. So it's a redundant statement. I need to report them to the Office of Redundancy Office. So here is Tennessee whiskey. It's a type of bourbon. Don't be fooled. They're going to tell you, oh no, it's not bourbon, but it is, because their rationale is, oh, it gets dripped through charcoal, so that makes it not a bourbon. Wrong. The charcoal mellowing or charcoal filtering is irrelevant to the definition of bourbon. You don't have to filter bourbon at all. You can filter it, you can chill filter it, you can charcoal mellow it, you can, it's still bourbon. Okay, but this is from Tennessee and they're trying to differentiate themselves. That's fine, doesn't matter to me. I don't live in Tennessee. I've been to Tennessee many times. It seems very nice. It's no Louisiana, but it's okay. Age 3 years. Cascade Hollow Distillery, Tullahoma, Tennessee. I'd like to visit. It's under the control of Diageo these days. You say Diageo, who's that? That's Guinness. You ever heard of the Guinness beer company, Guinness? But they called the name of their umbrella company Diageo. And somebody told me, Diageo bought out Guinness. I said, no, Diageo is Guinness. But they own Crown Royal. They own Johnny Walker. They own James Buchanan Scotch whiskey. They're the ones that came up with the Guinness Book of World Records, but they sold that off. They didn't want to deal with that anymore. So is from Guinness, Arthur Guinness. I've always enjoyed. Well, what's all this? You can take the caps off. You don't have to capitalize every word. I've always enjoyed Dickel's. What are you a fan? No, I'm not. It tastes like Flintstone vitamins to me. Okay, but we're gonna give it a fair taste challenge. $9.99. Okay, so this was $9.99. It's still $9.99. I looked at the store yesterday. It was still $9.99. The Dickel, I only saw it one time. Like literally, I never saw this Cascade Hollow again. To my knowledge, I don't recall seeing it again. And it was at Discount Depot on United States Highway 90 business route in Metairie, Louis. It starts with an M. Marrero, Louisiana, not Metairie, Marrero. And so on the ground level, I mean, it's elevated for many miles through there. Obviously, there's no stores on the elevated expressway, but the ground level, they got the stores. And I was in there looking around one Saturday night because I had gone to Mass on the West Bank because I was trying to go to Mass at every church in New Orleans area, which I accomplished. And I don't remember which one I was at, St. Bonaventure or something like that. So I said, oh, let me go pass by. Let me go drop by Savannah Discount since I'm right here in the neighborhood. And I went in and I'm looking around and I said, what is Cascade Hollow? I never heard of this one. And it's $7.99 a liter. I said, well, I bought a bottle and I bought a bottle from my friend David. I said, he's going to like this. He was like, oh, wow. And a week later, I said, hi. I said, you want to try some more of that Dickel? He said, it's gone. We drank it all. I said, huh? What's healthier for you, Dickel's whiskey or Flintstone vitamins? I think we know the answer to that. Power Drinking says, cheers in the mug. Yeah, I really don't know. I'm not a dietitian, so I don't know, really. They're both amber. Okay, so these are both amber. The color won't matter. So 10 high. Is it colored? Does it have caramel color added? It's a blended bourbon, which is allowed to have coloring added. Not required. And they also don't have to tell you if they add coloring. Disclosure is not required. It's optional. And there's no flavoring added. We don't know. Once again, with blended whiskey, you can add flavoring. Whether you disclose it or not is your option. And whether you add flavoring or not is your option. Now, by tasting this, it doesn't taste like there's flavor added. I don't know. To me, it just tastes like typical bourbon flavors. You understand? But just keep in mind, it is allowed. Now, the George Dickel Tennessee Cascade Hollow, it does not say straight whiskey anywhere, and neither does the Dickel 12. It just says, neither does the Dickel rye whiskey, which I have, by the way. It doesn't say straight whiskey, rye whiskey, or straight Tennessee whiskey. It does not say it. So why wouldn't it be called straight whiskey? Well, it's aged 3 years. The minimum is 2. It's over 51% corn. Well, that wouldn't matter because it wouldn't be bourbon if it didn't have that. What's making it not straight whiskey? I think the reason it is not aged in new barrels. It's probably aged in used barrels. Does that disqualify it as Tennessee straight whiskey? Yes, it could be Tennessee whiskey. It's got to be Tennessee whiskey. It's made in Tennessee. It couldn't be Alabama whiskey, right? It's not North Carolina whiskey. It's Tennessee whiskey. Any whiskey made in Tennessee is by default, ipso facto, right? By deductive reasoning is going to be Tennessee whiskey, okay? Which means it's going to be American whiskey, right? Which means it's going to be North American whiskey. And how you, depending on how you look at, of course, that's it. Western Hemisphere whiskey. Okay, I'm going too far. Can you name a whiskey or bourbon that definitely doesn't have any coloring or flavorings added? Yes. Jack Daniels would be one. Bullet. Well, now if Bullet straight bourbon, I don't. Well, even if it just say bourbon, you can't add flavoring or coloring to bourbon. Okay, so if you do, then you have to call it bourbon with coloring and flavoring added. Uh, Jim Beam, straight Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, no coloring, no flavoring added. Okay. So there's two choices right there: Jim Beam, Jack Daniels. Take your pick, Kentucky or Tennessee. Old Forester, another one. Now I'm not talking about. Then they got flavored Old Foresters now, mint julep flavored. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about regular Old Forester, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey would have no coloring or flavoring added. That's illegal. Okay. I mean, you can add coloring and flavoring, but you can't sell it as straight bourbon anymore. You have to call it bourbon with. You could call it straight bourbon with coloring and flavoring added. You know what I'm saying? But you couldn't call it just straight bourbon. No, I mean, okay. Well, it smells like uh-oh. I'm not gonna say it, but it smells corn, barrel, oak, um, just like vanilla, like your typical bourbon aromas. This one too, but it has almost no aroma. It's just so denuded of aroma. Okay, so that it's got to be the 10 high because my experience with 10 high is that it doesn't smell bad and it doesn't taste bad. It just doesn't have much aroma and it doesn't have much flavor. Okay, it's so bland, which some people would like because I know a lot of people that love the blandest taste in food and the blandest taste in drinks. There's nothing wrong with them. If that's what they like, they can drink it. It doesn't bother me. Now, if I had to be, if they were trying to force me to drink it, well, yeah, that would be different. Okay. It has a little of that Flintstone vitamin taste, but it's not overwhelming like with the number 12, superior number 12, or as people call it, Dickel 12. Yeah, that's just crazy, It's like, what is this? Now, this one is more like bourbon tasting, or, oh, I'm sorry, Tennessee whiskey tasting. Just your corn, your vanilla, your honeysuckle nectar flavors, a little charred oak. Yeah, actually, it kind of tastes a little better than Jack Daniels. And don't even go report me now. You can keep it quiet. We'll just keep it to ourselves. You say, well, Jack Daniels is aged at least 4 years. That's only 3. I get that. I'm not an anti-Jack Daniels guy. I mean, there are a lot on the internet that you say Jack Daniels, they start having a seizure. They hate it so much. I don't know why. It tastes fine to me, but this to me tastes a little better than Jack Daniels. So if I had a choice between this and Jack Daniels, I guess I would take this. Sorry. My friend David agreed with that too. He was saying, I like this better than Jack. Okay. We have a right to say that. All right. Do I like it better than Jim Beam? Well, no, I'm not going that far. I'd have to do it side by side. And I did, but I forgot which one I preferred. It was so long ago. You get wood, you get corn, like corn grips. You get the nectar, the vanilla, but it's so washed out. Its calling card is blandness. So if you like bland, you say, well, it's still 80 proof now. You're still getting your alcohol. If you got some kind of, drinking issue where you got to have this alcohol and you want no flavor, why you not drinking vodka? Then I know where to buy vodka for $8.99 a handle. Heard me right. So I remember when they had vodka at International Market, Nickoloff for $5.99 a handle. True story, $5.99. But I never bought it because I don't deal with vodka. Typically, I don't deal with it. Not against it, just don't deal with it. Okay, but golly gee, could this qualify as the world's blandest bourbon? Most dull bourbon with no flavor? It could. Now, when you drink it in isolation, when I did a solo review in isolation, years ago. It tasted pretty good because I had no comparison. I wasn't comparing it to anything. But when you start drinking stuff with more bolder flavor, with bolder flavors, it just makes this one seem nothingness. Like nothingness. It's not bitey. It's not a bad bite. It's very rounded, smooth as silk, easy going, mild, mellow, and it's nice in that way. But if you say, I got to have a lot of flavor, you don't have to have 10 high. Now, is that okay that I'm saying all this and it's only $9.99? Yeah, it's perfectly okay. It's $9.99. It's bland, no big deal. If I paid $29.99, I'd be angry right now. If I had paid $19.99, I'd be pretty upset. But for $9.99, yeah, it's fine. I don't ever see anybody buying it. It used to be at Walmart, but the sales must have been poor and they dropped it. They dropped Jack Daniel's Rye. Not Jack Daniel's Rye. Yeah, that's right. What am I saying? Jack Daniel's Tennessee Rye. I guess that stuff wasn't selling, and they dropped it down to $11. $11 a bottle just to get it out the store. And I saw the last one on the shelf a couple of days ago, and I bought it. I said, well, I'll buy it. What? $11. It's normally 20 something, 22.50, 23, 24. I've even seen it 24 at some store. So that doesn't mean Jack Daniel's Tennessee Rye is going away. It just means going away from my area. I mean, I don't see stores carrying it because, what's the point of carrying it if people not buying it? The answer is there is no point. Okay, it's worthless to do it. And I've gotten so many closeout products over the years. So many. Too many to count. I may as well take advantage of it. You come over here, you say, look at this amazing liquor collection. Where'd you get all this? Well, most of what I got I got it on a discount. I don't apologize for that. If I paid 50% off, or in some cases 80% off, hey, no problem. That's not the case for everything. I paid full price for a good deal of what I have over there, especially the mezcals. I never got mezcal on a discount. And the rums, well, those were so inexpensive to start with. I didn't need a discount, but but all these bourbons and everything, I got a lot of those for really cheap. Like I say, not all, but many. And I'll keep doing it. Okay. Okay, Cascade Hollow's a little strange. It is starting to have that little Flintstone vitamin thing. It's not unpleasant. It's nice. It's just not. It isn't really that exciting either. And I think they probably are using used barrels. Reuse. What do they say? Reuse cooperage. There's nothing wrong with that. But just you're not going to get that fresh, full charred oak flavor. You're going to get like just kind of like a generalized oak flavor with not a whole lot of bang, whiz bang taste. Sort of like early times type thing. Some people prefer that. They don't like the heavy char. A guy 2 days ago on Alcohol Eggs on Facebook told me, he said, I prefer blended whiskey. He didn't really like bourbon, straight bourbon. He preferred blended whiskey. You say, who in the world would prefer blended whiskey over straight bourbon? Well, quite a few, actually. I didn't say I was one of them. I'm not. Well, okay, yeah, all right. Canadian whiskey, blended Canadian whiskey. Do I prefer it over bourbon? Typically, yes, I do. And blended Scotch. Yeah, okay, never mind. I'm talking about American blended whiskey. I'm not too thrilled with those. But he is, and he said that's what he'd rather drink. And they got a lot of people drinking Seagram 7 Crown, the number one selling blended whiskey in the USA, in the world probably. Well, I meant to say the number one American blended whiskey in the world. American blended whiskey in the USA. In fact, Seagram 7 Crown, one of the top 10 selling whiskeys of any type in the United States, of any type. Straight bourbon, regular bourbon, blended whiskey, rye. I don't think rye is that popular. It's not because you don't hear people talking about it. Well, yes, you say, yeah, I'm a member of this exclusive craft whiskey club, and we drink all these exotic rye. Yeah, but that's a small group of people that get together every Tuesday night and drink it. I'm talking about the general public. I mean, yeah, Sazerac rye is popular in Louisiana now, because I guess a lot of people like to make Sazerac cocktails. And there's always some store selling it for $18.99 on discount. Was $17.99. So yeah, okay, Sazerac rye is popular. Sazerac rye. What about the others? Not around here, I don't believe so. They're around. You can get them. I don't see people, buying them. I don't see, too much action going on with it. All right, so the winner here is the George Dickel Cascade Hollow. I would like to recommend it, but you can't. It's out of production, so you might do like me and run it. Well, it was in production when I found it, but it was out of production like right after. So you might find it. It's unlikely, but it could be lingering around on some liquor store shelf. So I'll recommend it if you can find it, but I wouldn't go stressing over trying to track it down unless you know how to talk to your distributor and you have a relationship with them and they can tell you where to find stuff. They might have a list of who still has it. I don't know. It'd be probably more trouble than it's worth though. 10 high, I wouldn't recommend it. If you have a situation like me where it happens to be at a store 1 mile away and been on the shelf for 10 years, ain't moving, price never changed, yeah, buy it. $9.99, no loss, no great loss. So I wish it would have been $6.99. But anyway, so that's it for this one. 10 high has never won a taste challenge yet. Ain't gonna win one. I don't see it. Now it's going up against Stedman Select tomorrow, but I may have to stage it today. I don't care. I'm not going to have time to do any of these this weekend anyway, I don't believe. I could have time, but I'm not going to make the time. I'm not. But Stedman Select Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 86 proof, 10 high does not stand a chance. And that's a fellow Sazerac brand. But 10 high got no chance. Got no chance. It's impossible for it to win. I'm telling you ahead of time, if you want to skip that, I wouldn't take offense because you're going to watch just a total fiasco. And then we're going to make a U-turn and we're going to come right back around and do 10 high bourbon whiskey with natural flavors, the current one that's in all the stores. And we're going to go against all the other bourbons again. That one will have a better chance. Why is that? Because it got more flavor. And I think that's why they added flavoring. It was cheap anyway. Wasn't anybody putting it in the World Spirits competition. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't going to win any contests. Wasn't going to be entered in any contest to start with. So Sazerac probably figured, just add flavor into it. Heck, who's going to care? And the answer is pretty much nobody. And if it tastes better and the price doesn't go up, hey, it's a benefit. Does Johnny Walker add coloring or flavorings? I think so. Can't prove it, but I know in Scotland they're allowed to. I don't know about flavoring now. Caramel color is a common additive in Scottish whiskey, Scotch whiskey, caramel color. Flavoring now, that's a different, I really don't have any kind of expertise whatsoever of Scotch whiskey regulations. I know it has to be aged at least 3 years and it has to be produced in Scotland. Beyond that, I really couldn't tell you. Good morning, Louisiana Liquor Reviews. Good morning to you, Tommy. Well, y'all take care. And so that was fun, I guess. So bye-bye, everybody.